Good morning, good afternoon. All right, there's like that fun sign-in process that makes you feel like you're in grade school again. So we'll wait for the rest of our adult friends to get in. How is everybody doing today?
Good. How are you feeling, by the way?
Oop, you're on
I'm
mute.
back in the game. So we thank you guys. I'll give everyone a second to kind of pile in here. I see some people arrived early. I always get all excited. You come in somewhere where there's music, and I really appreciate my team for thinking of that, because we should just sit in silence on Zoom, and that's not very exciting. So today, I have something very special planned for you. It's definitely very different, and it's something that I know most people have never sat through before. If you're in our group, you have heard this before, but today, since we have more time, we can all go deeper. Darien, Connecticut. That's my neighbor in Westport. So I will give everyone literally one more minute and then we'll get started. And I really love you all because you guys all actually show up with your cameras on. That's always a plus. And we have someone here from Hawaii. Lori Abbey, nice to see you. Katie, I like the energy. All right, so let me just start off by just saying thank you. Last week was definitely very challenging for me, and it speaks a lot about, community, of how many people reached out, how many people cared. And, I would say that you could quantify life by two things: connection and meaning, the connections you have with people, and the meaning that that has to in your life. And the meaning that all of you have to me is very special. A lot of you I've never met in my life before, judging by the chat box and the outreach. And it was very, very thoughtful of how caring you were and how understanding you were. I can tell you last week, in full transparency, is getting out of those first couple innings of like sharing my screen, and the screens are all screwed up. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? So I appreciate all of you for bearing with us bumps in the road. And look, I always say this: you can choose to be anywhere in the world, right? But you chose to invest your time with us today. And I always look at the word investment, right? Time is the one thing you can't buy more of. It's your most limited resource, and it's your most valuable thing. So every time that somebody spends a minute with me, I look at it as an investment. And it's my sole goal to deliver. So let's kind of just re-engage in our commitments, right? My commitment to you over the next 9 weeks is to give you the best of what I have. And I remember talking to people about the 10 by 10 challenge. And the first thing people would ask me was, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to tease them? Are you going to give them some stuff? I go, no, man. I'm like, these people are committing 10 hours of their life to being here, and they could be anywhere else. I want to give as much as I could give, and hope I've earned the right to be your coach after this. That's my mindset in this. You guys have to walk away here with something new that you could do in your business to make it better and make your life better. And someone says, how do you know if coaching is successful? It's actually really simple. If your life or business get better, one thing happens by accident, two things happen by purpose, right? And I'm a very purposeful, thought out person. So let's kind of jump into what we have here today. Just a quick recap and some housekeeping. You have to sign in to qualify for your reward at the end of all of this. If you have any issues with it, please let us know. If you miss one session, it's not the end of the world. Look, if you have things going on in your life, just sign in from your phone. And I believe on Scout's honor that you're actually paying attention, right? And you're listening. So those are just a couple quick things. So today we're going to talk about the 5-star curated buyer experience, right? And when we talk about curated experiences, the things you love most in your life are curated, right? They're thought out, they're planned, they're purposeful, right? They don't happen by accident. So let me just share my screen here. So here's your 10 by 10 stuff. And now we'll get into it. Curating a 5-star buyer experience. Wait 1 second. I have to hide all of you, or you'll tell me that you're seeing a black box. So just to reintroduce myself and David. David and I will be your coaches throughout this next 9 weeks. Now, let's start off by doing a quick recap, right? Because remember, it's not what you learn, it's what you actually do, right? So remember a pitch and compass recap. My recap for you is we all need to practice our conversations, right? Remember the 5-minute rule. If you practice something 5 minutes a day for 300 days in a year, that's 25 hours. If you're very committed to doing this, do this 15 minutes a day and practice 75 hours. Imagine the financial benefit to your business if you practice what to say to people 75 hours. Remember the marathon mindset. This is something that we're going to keep having to do mile after mile after mile. It's not a 100-yard dash. By practicing, you're quantifiably getting better. Now, think about how much money you potentially leave on the table every single year by not being able to answer people's simple questions. The second thing, the accountability partners in our new forum. At the end of this today, I'm going to spend about 45 minutes going through our actual workshop today. The last 15 minutes, my team is going to show you how to get onto our platform, where our resources are, the things that you can use to follow up and make money with, and how you can find accountability partners, how you can find role play partners, how to engage with each other and network, right? Now, the third part is being a mobile agent. We talked about how to really utilize our Compass CRM on the go, right? How to really maximize capturing conversations and notes. And remember, I had COVID last week, right? If I was a real estate agent and everything just lived in my head and no one could help me, guess what? We all would have had a really big problem, right? It is a real liability in your business because you have a fiduciary responsibility to your clients to act in their best interest. Now, are you really acting in anyone's best interest if everything lives in your brain, your notes section of your phone, random emails and random texts? It's not really the case. So make sure that every day you're logging in these basic set of information and conversations that you have with people. Number 4, a journal. I saw somebody printed out their 90-day journal. Someone took a screenshot and shared that in the 10 by 10 group. Listen, we're going to be the best 10 by 10 group there is. So I encourage everyone in that group to share screenshots, share wins, share their messages, and really inspire everyone to be better, right? As Robert and the saying goes, rising tide raises all ships. Make sure you do your journal and some basic actions every day. The next thing is an action plan. Brooke on our team can get credit for doing this. We've actually built you an action plan that you could assign to yourself. The goal of our action plan is to get you guys into momentum of doing the simple things we talk about every single day. So we'll share the action plan with you. You can assign it to yourself as a contact. And from there, every day you'll have a different task that'll help you grow your business. And we're going to start small and we'll build up to more and more each day, that by the end of 10 weeks, you'll have a consistent set of activities you do that we know that will drive revenue. Now, let's get into what we're going to talk about today. So really, when you start thinking about clients and buying, right, and any kind of decision, there's a decision-making matrix that we all have, right? So I'm going to ask you a question. What made you decide to being here? Let's see what everyone says. There's 525 people here. What was your decision-making process of being here? Answer these questions. Why did you choose being here? What did you want out of being here? What were your expectations? What were you looking for? Drop it in the chat and we'll read a few of the answers out loud before we get into our actual client part. So we could frame this in a way that it makes sense for you. David, what do we have? Let's see.
Getting a whole bunch of stuff in here. Growth, learning the tools, you understand Compass. Some people moving because they didn't like where they were before. Whole bunch of stuff.
Wonderful. All right. So David, when people get into their decision-making matrix, what really goes into a decision for somebody?
Well, there's a couple things to think about. You can think about circumstances and you can think about benefits. That is, some people will make a choice to something because of the circumstances that they're in, like they don't like their current boss or place where they happen to be associated. That would be a circumstance. Or maybe they might choose to work with somebody as an agent now rather than 6 months from now because now they know they need to move. And so there's a circumstance in their life that's steering them towards choosing something at this time. The other part of it is a motivation or a benefit. We talked last time about the Med-C process, and the first part of that, the M part, is about motivations. And so if you're going to understand, if you want to create a 5-star curated experience for your client, you need to know what are the right actions to take to do that. And the right actions to take are the ones that speak to their motivations and circumstances. So if you think of those things, then you have a chance to you can begin to understand what their particular decision-making matrix might be. Another way to say this is to try to understand what's underneath their iceberg, to put it in the terms we talked about last time. And so creating the 5-star curated experience begins with understanding what the world looks like from their point of view. What are their circumstances? What are their particular motivations? Chirag?
Thank you. So I'm not big onto slides. So if it's all right with you, if you really feel you need to look at a visual, let us know. But I'm going to pull them down and have more of a dialogue with you guys. So the first thing is understanding a decision-making matrix, right? There are 2 sets of things that factor into doing this for a client, right? So when you're thinking about a buyer, right, the first thing a buyer does is hiring a realtor, right? That is part of their decision-making matrix. And there are many different factors that go into that, right? So when you think of a buyer choosing to work with a realtor versus choosing to be on their own, what do you think factors into their decision? Right? Drop it in the chat as we continue this dialogue, right? So think about it. Someone might want to say trust, right? I was waiting for somebody to say trust. Now, this is the best thing that you could walk away with. If you walk away with nothing else from today, walk away with this. Trust is a feeling that's created by a set of actions or experience that are conveyed to somebody, right? Paul Coleman trusts me because he's shared a lot of experiences with me, and I've coached him, and he sat in on workshops for 1.5 years. So the experience he's had with me leads me to trust him, right? Trust. If as an agent, I lay out the entire home buying process with all the details in it, then you can trust me based on what the process is. I provide you a written communication plan for how we're going to engage with each other in the process of buying a home or selling a home. And that leads you to trust me because you know when you're going to get to communication. Remember, trust is a feeling, right? It's very important to distinguish that. Most people say, why do people what makes you different? People trust me. Trust is not quantifiable, right? It's not. Selling 100 homes in an area is quantifiable. So some people might want a local market expert, right? Some people want somebody that has great communication, right? Someone wants somebody with availability. There's all of these different things. So the thing you all want to write down in your notes is take a moment, and we all have clients that are friends. Ask them this question. When hiring me as a realtor, what did you consider when making this choice? Ask people, why did they hire you in the first place? See, I always tell people, I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm just really good at asking questions, listening to what people want, and then giving them exactly what they said. It would be stupid and foolish of me not to ask all 540 of you what would be most valuable in your business and then see if I can deliver what you want, right? Or instead, I could just invent in my head what I think you guys want, never ask you, and then offer you that. That's what real estate agents do a lot. We just start telling people what we think they want, but we don't really even understand what their decision-making matrix is. Does that make sense to everybody? Look, remember, I promised you to build you a foundation for your business. that would capture this marathon mindset of how do I think through my business today in a different way than I ever did before, that I can quantifiably make money compounded more year after year after year, right? We'll get the way that we worded the question to you guys in the recap. So by the way, just on a quick side note, my team and I have a line that everyone seemed very excited about how this all went and to utilize this stuff. We'll be getting the recordings and everything else of this by 5 p.m. I want everyone Eastern, right? So we'll be done by 1 o'clock. By 5 p.m. Eastern, everything will be uploaded. That is our commitment to you every week. So Nathan, by the end of this, we're going to spend 15 minutes with all of you showing you where all this stuff is, where you could benefit from it, where the recordings are. We put everything else in here as well. So start thinking about this decision-making matrix, right? And I'm a big fan of these easel pads, right? If you've ever seen like one of those big easel pads, you rip off the Post-it thing, you can put it on your wall, right? Hiring a realtor, get 1, 2, 3 different people, collaborate on this and write everything down, right? So that's the first thing you need to understand. Why do people hire a realtor, right? Because you have to remember, at the end of the day, potentially they can do this on their own, right? Like you need to understand what is affecting someone's decision-making matrix today. Do you think their decision-making matrix today is different for hiring a realtor than 24 months ago before COVID? Yep. Do you think it was different 24 months before that? Yep. But we don't ever evolve with this exercise. And we're always thinking about how to get the next shiny penny. And that's why our business foundation is never truly built and we can never really scale, right? So the next thing to think about is when these people are searching, right? What are they searching for online? Think about this. Everyone starts, 90+% of people start their search online. What are people looking for? Drop it in the chat as we continue this dialogue. How present are you to what people are actually looking for online? They want a house, not very present, hyper-local, knowledge, the perfect place to live, lifestyle. So when I'm searching online for a home, I love whoever said shiny penny. When I'm searching online for a home, what am I looking for, right? I'm looking for information. That's what people are looking for, right? What do people go on? Your compass.com, Zillow, Trulia, realtor.com. I don't know how that website's still alive. Redfin, right? So like, if you think about it, these people are going on all these websites and what are they searching for? Information. We need to know, what are they searching for when they get there? How do you effectively communicate with people when you don't know what they're actually searching for? Now, this isn't rocket science or anything else. This is a different way to approach working with a client. Because the reality is when you could understand what's above their iceberg, underneath their iceberg, and somebody's decision-making matrix, then you could really start creating an experience that's different, right? Why do people like the Ritz-Carlton? Why do people like the Four Seasons? Why do people like those high-end results? Because they really understand who their client is, what their client wants. They understand their decision-making matrix. And based on that, they're able to create a very unique experience that's consistent, right? So let's see what this actually looks like. So what do clients consider when hiring a realtor? These things that we're sharing are a list of things that we got out of our group, right? They want someone who's a great negotiator, an active listener, experience, expertise, likability, reputation, professionalism, perspective, Compass specific, right? Maybe they want just an agent of Compass. Now, what are clients searching for online? Amenities, price. They're doing it based on their budget, locations, comparable properties, school information, community information. This is generally what people are looking for, right? These are all the things that go into somebody's decision-making matrix to work with an agent. Now, Guys, we're going to share the slides with you. Now, here's my question to you. Would you sign up for coaching if you receive the same service for free? Think about that. Would you ever sign up for a paid service if you're able to get the same set of stuff for free? No. So here's everyone's aha moment. How often are you sharing with clients what you offer as a value and they can get it for free somewhere else? Think about that. If we are not truly present to what we are offering people and what they're getting everywhere else they go, right? So think about this. If your grand offer is like, hey, I'm going to send you these properties and all this information, they can get all that stuff for free on a website. Correct? So a lot of time agents will go to open houses, they'll meet clients and they start offering clients stuff that they can get on their own for free. But if you don't understand somebody's decision-making matrix, number one, if they don't understand what they're searching for online, number two, how effective can your conversations be with clients providing them value that they could not get on their own? Hit yes if this makes sense to all of you. Yes, keep going. Don't worry, I'll never give you half the stuff. I'm literally, even if I wanted to and you offered like to pay me money to do it, I'm mentally incapable of doing so. So good. So look, going forward today, what we're going to do, it doesn't matter if it's somebody in your office. There's no such thing as competitors. There's only companions, right? And I shared this quote with everyone yesterday. If you look at something long enough, you can always find something wrong. I truly believe if you look at anything long enough, you can always find something right. Find the good in the people around you, right? That doesn't mean being stupid and being naive. Find people in your office, find people to do this through Zoom, and make sure you go through and understand your client's decision-making matrix and what they're doing online, right? So now let's go through the tactical process of doing this, right? You have to understand the client experience, right? Here's understanding the client experience is number one, you have to be the client, right? So everything I'm going to share here going forward, we're going to give you in a worksheet that you can follow along and fill out because I want everyone to go through this exercise, right? Be the client. What is the client? What does that mean? You need to make your own separate Gmail account and you need to set yourself up as the client. If you're using collections and you've never set yourself up as the client, you're missing a half the battle. Excuse me. You have to understand what people are seeing on their end, right? The client portal and the agent portal generally are a little different in any service. Remember, you guys all have AEMs and IT people and that magical email support@compass.com where you can literally find out any question to anything. It's like the Compass version of Ask Jeeves. Your clients have you. So if you're not very tech savvy, you need to really practice this, right? And this is how you get comfortable using technology because you become an expert in it. But if you're not practicing and understanding your client experience, again, you are missing the boat. You're not maximizing your opportunities to take advantage of what you have. So let's go through now what this actually looks like, right? So the first three things are here. Let me put this up because this should be visual for you all. Let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need to do is create a new Gmail address, right? Make sure that this is not done through your Compass email, your personal email. Just make a new Gmail address. You need to utilize Gmail filters, meaning you can filter messages into folders. You can filter them to skip your inbox. We have a video that we'll upload as part of this that will show you how to do that. Don't worry, it is very simple to do. Now, you need a list of websites that your clients go on, right? So if you're in New York City, the only website you really need is StreetEasy. That's where everybody is, right? And depending where you are in the country, you know, it's Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, or Realtor.com. I suggest if you're in a suburban market doing all four of those, right? Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, and Redfin. So you're going to go through and make a list of these websites. Now, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to go deep, right? And this is what going deep actually looks like. You're going to go on here, figure your bread and butter price point that you work in, that area where you get most of your clients in, right? You're going to set up the same search on each portal from your new address, right? And there's certain things that you're looking for here, right? You want to understand when triggered actions happen. Number one, when you sign up, what is the sign up process like? What is that experience that the client has? When they type in their criteria, what's their search options? What does the boxes look like? When they click it, when they save their search, when they create an account, when they log into it, when they go back to it, you need to understand what people are doing on these other websites. It is more and more and more important every day that they do. Because remember, you got to remember, free starts here and free ends here. You need to understand where they end and what's not there so you can add value, right? Think about this. My business is only for Compass, and that's why a lot of you are here. It is my job to understand what Compass is offering at all times and where Compass starts and where it ends. I am not sitting here generally ever going through the same trainings that you can get for free. I find that morally wrong. I don't need to retrain you on something that you can get from Compass for free. I need to understand where that ends and where it goes. But if I don't understand what's going on there, I can't effectively serve you as a third-party coach. Now, you want to also understand when a new listing comes on, when a property goes into contract, and when a property gets sold. How are the people notified? What happens in these specific situations, right? And the reason that that's so important is this is what your clients are getting. This is part of their decision-making matrix, right? When they're choosing to work with a realtor, it's because they're getting information, right? It's because they want service. If they want local knowledge, they want these things interpreted for them. So you need to understand what the triggered actions are. So I'm going to go back and connect to two slides. We're going to make a new Gmail address. Say we're looking in Westport, Connecticut, between 1 million and 1.5 million, right? In the Greens Farm School District. You're going to set that filter up on all four of these websites, make a Trulia folder, a Zillow folder, a Realtor.com folder, and a Redfin folder. I'm going to filter them so they skip my inbox and go right to the folder. And then this way I can see the entire process that's happening. It's not all confusing in an inbox mixed in with everything else. I'm looking to, number one, understand what's my client experience. Number two, what happens when these things happen. Number three, now I could distill the difference between each portal and understand how I can add value even if they're on those portals. Now, gain your advantage. Now, what you need to do next is as follows. You need to set up the criteria in the same way for a Compass collection as you would these other sites. How can you understand what you offer is different when you don't know what you're getting as a client compared to the other places, right? And the last thing is you need to understand what other stuff they're sending besides, you know, just listed, just sold, in contract. I'm going to pause here for a second. Are we all here together on this? You know, it always really is fun creating new content that no one has seen before. We actually built out 10 sessions here for all of you. And then we looked at the way they connected. And then we came back 2 days later and I redid all of them. So my team really enjoyed that because they thought they were done. I was like, this doesn't make sense. We have to keep moving this around. Right? So everyone needs to do this. Now, here's the reality of this. Remember that quote I said, if you look at something long enough, you can always find something wrong, right? We need to understand what our distinct advantage is above these portals, right? That's where we need to focus on. Do not go in here and say, well, they offer this, 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 this. Listen, in the end of the day, I really don't care what these sites offer. I work at Compass. I'm a Compass agent. I need to have collections, and I need to understand what's the one or two things that can do better than the other portals, mixed with my own personal experience and touch to understand how I'm better. Make sense? All right, let's keep going. We have more stuff to go through. Now, remember, we'll go back to the iceberg, right, quickly. Remember, in the end of the day, when you're doing this, right, what do buyers care about? Oops. Going too fast now. The buyers care about, above their iceberg, can you find me a home in this market? That's what everyone's really saying. And underneath it, right, David, motivations, expectations, disappointments, and concerns. David, you want to chime in for a second and kind of talk about how these things with their iceberg really also correlate to somebody's decision-making matrix and what really is available to them online?
Absolutely. You know, people go online because they're looking for something, they're looking for some kind of information. And online is a really efficient way for them to get that information. They could get the same information from you, but they can get an awful lot of value just out of hitting a bunch of websites. However, when we talked before about trust, and you know, one way to think about trust is like you can break it into two different directions. One direction is predictability, the other direction is vulnerability. That is, sometimes when we say, I trust so-and-so, it's, I expect that person to behave in a certain way because I've worked with that person for 10 years. And I know, for example, if I give a report to Alexa, I ask Alexa to do a report, I know she's always going to do it with dotted I's and crossed T's. I trust her to do that. But that's a different kind of trust from the trust we might have in a doctor or a therapist or a close friend, where we might want to share some kind of vulnerability, or we have some kind of risky thing that we want to undertake, and we're not sure if that person can like meet us there or not. This is a piece of your unique value that they can't get on a website. Imagine if you go see a doctor, you want a doctor that's not just competent, but you want a doctor that has a bedside manner that can help you, can meet you where you are with your concerns and worries. And so we have Med C here. The C part is about concerns. And this is a space where you can blow the internet away, where there's no way that online websites can compete with your ability to meet someone's concern, which is a fear that they have underneath their iceberg. It's a worry. Will I not sell my house fast enough? Will I not sell it for the right price? I've got 2 kids going into college in 6 months. And if I don't get this thing sold very soon, I don't know how I'm going to pay for their college, right? That's a fear or a worry that they have. And so they want somebody who's not just knowledgeable and competent. They want somebody who can help support them to move through that fear and worry that they have. And if you can meet them where they are by understanding that and help them through that process, absolutely, it's going to lead to referrals along the way. So understanding what their decision-making matrix is all about is really about understanding the stuff that's underneath the iceberg that they're carrying with them into their relationship with you. And if you think the only thing that they want from you is professionalism and information, you're missing the whole human half of this. Chirag?
Could not have said it any better. Thank you, David. Listen, there are 3 types of searchers out there. There's the I'll do it myself. And these people prefer finding their own homes and share them with an agent what they like. We all know this searcher. The second type is the all-inclusive searcher, done for me. I'm counting on an agent to select what they feel is best based on their criteria. And the third one is let's work together, right? Now, this one is each party looks for properties and shares with each other. Ask yourself, drop in the chat, which one of the 3 are you, right? It's very interesting to see when you have this many people, how different people are. I'm a done for me searcher. Like I don't really, if I'm buying a house, please send me properties that you think I like. I have certain things I'm very particular about. And there are other people like my wife who has photographic memory and wants to literally look at every single house herself. She's not waiting for a realtor to send anything. And then they're the collaborative people, right? And you need to understand what type of searcher your client is. And you got to just simply ask them, in looking for homes, do you prefer looking on your own and sharing the ones you like with us? Do you prefer that we pick the properties based on listening to what's important to you that you should look at? Or do you prefer to collaborate where we both mutually work together and we'll share our findings with each other? You have to understand what your clients are looking for. So these are the 3 questions to ask. And it doesn't matter if they say, I'll do it myself. If they do it themselves, these are the high risk searchers, because these are the people that are just dependent on the internet. They're looking on all the websites, they have searches set up. You have to pick out properties and send them to these people or they will be disengaged. Now that you understand this, let's talk about collections, right? Communication. Why do we love collections? Communication. It's an interactive platform for your home to communicate your home search with your agent, right? Where else do you have it where you can just hit a button and just type in a comment and it goes right to your agent? It's in real time, right? It is real-time communication with an agent. Now, if we keep going, collaboration, right? How many people have multiple decision makers in a process? You can ask people, one of my favorite questions, has there ever been a time you've lost something communicating through phone, email, text messages, through multiple channels? The answer is yes. Collections allows us to collaborate all of the things that are most important to you in a home search in one place. And the other aspect is the organization element to this, right? Organized by each property to ensure nothing important falls through the cracks. Because look, as an agent, people are emailing you random links to websites. If you're looking with a husband and wife, one person sending you a text, another person sending you another text. Other times you're in a group, then there might be a mother-in-law that's helping. This is unorganized chaos. And when something goes wrong, they blame you. Right? So these are the 3 distinct points with collections that we really want to focus on: communication, collaboration, and organization, right? When you ask someone that question, has there ever been a time that you've lost something important communicating through phone, email, text, and multiple platforms? Everyone says yes. And they're going to say, are you looking to have that same thing happen to you when finding a home? They're going to say no. And then you're going to pivot and you're going to say, great, can I share with you how we have our own proprietary technology collections that'll make sure that doesn't happen and create a seamless search experience for you? And then seamless, because it's communication, collaboration, organization. Remember what I said, understand your advantage over these portals. Remember what David said, the human element of addressing people's concerns, right? Everyone's expectation is communication. Collections is a communication platform. Every time a property comes on the market, it is an opportunity for you to share your expertise based on the filter of what's important to them. Mobile agent, right? Now, let's go back to doing this. Being a mobile agent. How do we be a mobile agent when working with buyers? It's really, really simple. You capture everything in your CRM, right? Now, this is, if I did this the whole time I was talking to you at a house, would you feel like I was engaged with you? Nope. Is it actually considered pretty rude? Yes. Fran Mazer, nice to see you. So, in doing this, what I want you to do is this. I would say, Fran, I know you'd shared that communication was really important. Would it be okay at the end of each property if I asked you a couple questions, and this way I was able to document all your feedback for the homes that we saw and then share a recap email with you after? Who's going to say no to that? Correct? So when you start thinking about this, right, you need to distill this down to 3 simple questions. Number 1, you need to get people's permission to do this in advance. Do you know any buyer that's going to say no to wanting to collect the feedback and be organized and send a recap email? Is there anyone here that currently does send recap emails to their clients? Drop a yes in the chat box after every single time they go out. See, we have a lot of people that do this. Now, I'm interested to see how detailed the email is when people do it, right? So I break it down into 3 questions, and I'll give you the science behind it. Now, when you're doing this, you're going to ask these 3 questions. And at the end of the property, you're going to go to the client's contact in the CRM, right? You're going to go to the note section and you're just going to type in a note, right? Now, everyone that's saying they're sending text, again, is that a centralized, organized system? No. If you got sick and you had COVID, can anyone actually look at the notes in your interactions with your clients? No. Is it an organizational tool that will help your productivity in everything you do so that you can be more efficient and not look around for everything? No. You have to put this into your CRM. Have to. Are we all hit yes if you are in alignment with me on this? Look, in the end, we could look at 100 things the CRM can and can't do. I just want to focus on what we can do, right? So when you're doing this, you ask 3 questions. And here are your 3 questions. And thank you all for bearing with me with the slides. I'm not a big slide person, even though these things all look cool. What did you love about this home? And the reason I use love is because when people tell you what they love, it starts with the pleasure point in their brain. And it's also very important to see what people love, because this is where you'll find out things that you didn't know about people. Because there's a difference between talking about a house in theory and seeing pictures online and then walking in, right? Most people wouldn't tell you, well, hey, I love that they had, a laundry room on the first floor. I actually love that there was a den off the kitchen. I have small kids, and having them within eyesight to me is really important. I never thought about that. That's how you can help update people's searches, filters, and put more meaningful communications and comments in a collection. I would say, hey, Fran, I know you mentioned love a den off the kitchen. This house actually has it, right? And this is where it becomes important. Also, a quick asterisk is in communicating things on collections. For MLS markets, they have the agent-only remarks. A lot of that information is very important to buyers. You can actually take that information, just put it in the comments, and every client will feel like, oh, wow, look at the research they've already done. Works very well. Now, deal breakers. Were there any deal breakers in the house? It's very important to know where were there any deal breakers. Like, this is how you know how to filter what properties out, right? So the loved one can put new ones in and get you more present to what they really like. The deal breakers is a way to filter things out. So if you see a property as a deal breaker, now you have a filter to put all of these through. And the third one is you have any additional questions, right? Sometimes people want additional information about the community, the area, homes, the commute, school. Those are the 3 things that you want to capture at the end of every property. Now, from there, you want to send a recap email. Now, a recap email is really simple, right? A recap email just says, hey, Fran, thank you for taking the time to view these properties. Just want to give you a quick recap. On 123 Main Street, these were the things you loved. These were the potential deal breakers. And and you didn't have any additional questions, right? The same thing goes through for all of them. And if people have questions, what you can tell them is this: I will answer your questions by, put a date and a time, so you have something to be accountable to. And then all of those questions simply become tasks. The third question, Janet, was, do you have any additional questions about the area? Would you like comps? People will tell you what it is, right? So if somebody says, you know what, like, I'm thinking of making an offer, right? You could write on the thing, 123 Main Street, wanted comps to make an offer. And I would say, I'll have those comps to you today by 5 p.m. If you have a different expectation of time, please let me know. We have to align around very specific timing, right? That is very important. When you say tomorrow morning, you just set yourself up for failure. If you tell me tomorrow morning, I'm like looking forward at like 6 a.m. I'm like, all right, people have been up for an hour or so now, like it's morning, right? You talk to other people, their morning is 11 a.m. I don't understand that because I'm like an actual morning person, but to other people, 11 a.m. with a cup of coffee is morning. So we'll send a copy. We'll have a templated recap email that you guys can use as well. Now, here's the other thing I want to show you guys. You have to have everything in Business Tracker. And I'm going to show you why, and I'm going to give you a very different perspective. Let me just log onto my Compass account. Told you guys today, we get to a lot of stuff today. All right, let's go into Business Tracker. Now, if I think about Business Tracker, it's this to me is like the operating system for my business, right? Compass has, I mean, Apple, I would say everything at Compass is Apple. Apple has an iOS. It is a central operating system that a phone runs off of. Well, your business is the same thing with Business Tracker, right? So let's talk about creating something. And I'll walk you through doing this because this is where it gets confusing. These three buttons are when I talk to agents is where they get most lost. They're like, well, what does this even mean, Chirag? Well, initial contact is somebody that could be an initial lead, right? You exchange a phone call, an email, a text, but you're in the process of what I call having the real estate conversation, right? Like you haven't really talked to them yet. It's just going back and forth, right? Basic information gathering phase. Nurturing is somebody that's raised their hand. You've shared with them things about a home search. You've set them up a collection, but they're not really actively looking. They don't want to see a house every weekend. Searching are people that are actually actively looking at properties and are in the process of moving. Now, here's where I want to urge all of you. When you put someone who's not really qualified to move, meaning they don't have a must move, right? Like, death, divorce, getting married, having a new kid, moving jobs. Those are all must move locations. Those are all must move reasons. If they're not a must move, don't put them to searching. They're really just nurturing, right? They're not serious clients. Having a clean quality data is very important. So I'm going to go to search. I will put in Fran Mazer, see my CRM. No. So then you can create a contact here. So I would write Fran Mazer. Mazer at compass.com. And I'd create a contact. You can put a phone here. Now, when you create a contact, buyers generally, their folder names, this is the names that show up on the tile. They generally show up by people's names. Listings generally show up by address. If you needed to add a second contact, this is where you can do so. You can add it here, create. Now I've created her file here. Now, this is what makes this so valuable, and you can actually use this to get business. Business Tracker is my new favorite pitch tool for buyers and sellers. And people I remember sharing this with Rory, and he's like, how are you going to pitch this to people to win business? You name me one other place that organizes all the information into one place. Look, you can see the comments, home views, favorites, showing requests, email opens. Any property that you made an offer of a buyer, you can have the whole list here. Your collections are here. Your CMAs are here. Your tours are here. The notes. Remember I said log things in your CRM as notes? Well, your CRM notes section syncs to your Business Tracker account for the client, right? Not activities, only notes does. And the tasks don't either. So notes sync, tasks don't. But I can also show all the different types of tasks that I've done for somebody, right? This allows me as your agent to organize your entire home search in one experience in a collaborative manner for me, my team members. And it also, quite frankly, makes it that God forbid something happened and someone else had to help me, all the information's here. This is a curated 5-star buyer experience because the last time I checked, there's no other place in real estate that puts all of this stuff in one place, right? Email activity, collections, files, right? By, I think, the end of Q2, every Compass agent can process their entire transaction and deal closer through here, compliance docs and everything. Now, here's the really important part. Budget, you can just put up to a number, right? The thing that I want everyone to focus on is confidence scores, right? Confidence scores is a way to filter business and understand where your money is coming from. A low confidence score is like someone who's not very likely to buy a house or in the early stages. Say I told my broker that I wanted to move in the summer and I'm just starting, right? I would be a low confidence score person because even if you found me the perfect property, I can't move till August, right? Medium, these are people that are searching, that they want to go out every single week. Like they've committed the time to moving, but they don't have a must move, right? It's a would like to do. They really would like to do it, but they not must. High confidence, these are must moves with actual closing dates, right? Like somebody wanting to get in for a school year is a must move. Someone whose landlord signed their lease, re-signed the lease to their apartment, and they have to be out by a certain date, want to buy a house is a must move. And this is the essence of doing this, right? Now, hit yes if we can all commit by next Thursday of having all of our real clients. Like before you hit anything, you guys already say yes. I love you all. You have to have your real clients here. This is what I call the COVID world, the communication economy. I call this the grit market. You do not put every Tom, Dick, and Harry in here that raises their hand and says something. You need to protect the quality of your time and your mental energy. Everything needs to be in your business tracker. Period. End of story. Do not tell me that, well, this doesn't work, well, that doesn't work. I just told you how this works. Collections, CMAs, tours, notes, right? Be a mobile agent. Capture the notes for all the properties. Do you know how impressive it's going to be when 3 months from now or 2 months from now, or if you're in Florida 2 weeks from now, you can show a client that says, hey, remember you guys said that you wanted a client to trust you? How do you get a client to trust you more than show them exactly how you work? I would say, you know, Susie, here's how I work. Like I can show you your entire home buying process and experience is organized in one place. Every time you call me, every property you've seen, I take notes and it's organized here. Your collection, your feedback, when you want to see properties, it's all here. Every property you've made an offer on, we have an entire log of it, as well as all the tours and all the homes you've seen are here. So whether it's me, my team member, or God forbid I get sick, or even if I'm away, anyone can seamlessly come in here and share the same information and give you the same service. Has anyone ever thought about Business Tracker like that? Because I can tell you that gets me excited, right? So when everyone's thinking about how do I use technology, how do I use technology, how do I use technology? Listen, I need to figure out as a coach how to take technology and fit it into your existing life. I don't need you to figure out how to hit all these buttons and to do all this stuff and everything else like that. That is completely freaking pointless, and I'm never going to ask you to do it. If you simply just follow the things that I do, you will learn how to have a more productive business, a more efficient business, a better client experience, and you could also pitch this to make money. So when you're in a market filled with Compass agents and you want to show how you do things differently, now you know the exact script to do it. And there's one more thing I want to show you with Business Tracker. That's really important. When you want to understand where to spend your time every day, when you have a sea of clients, I'm going to clear filters. If I go to filters and I click on high confidence, I hit apply. Now, every person that is a high confidence person, the must move people are in front of me. Now, if I remove this filter, here's another cool thing about this. If they're tasks due, well, I guess I did all my tasks yesterday. Nope. You see this, these little circles here, they will be highlighted so you can see when you have things due, right? There are still some kinks in the service. The tasks in your CRM will show up in the tasks section of Compass, and they'll email you about them every day. Does this store documents? Yes, you can connect your Google Drive. You could store all of somebody's documents in one place. All right, so let's walk away with our action items for this week. Okay. Remember, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to do anything, but you have to do something, right? The complete the decision-making matrix, right? Start finding a partner and going through this stuff. Prioritize getting this done this month. Remember, be a mobile agent, capture feedback, and send recap emails. Again, this is how you build trust. What I always say is this: create the conversation you want somebody to have with you. I want to create a dialogue that every single person here feels that this is the best investment of their time. They want to go tell every other person that's not here. That I came here and I got substantial value to my business that is going to help make my life easier and earn more money. Put all your buyers into Business Tracker. Remember to follow the journal and start doing our action plan. It is really, really simple, and it'll show up in your tasks every day. So that's what I have for you today. I'm going to have my team hop on here, and they're going to start going through our community platform. This is where you'll find the recordings. Every time that someone's like, hey, I need a script, Chirag, you said that's really great. They all know how to capture my stuff after the fact, and they're going to upload it after, right? So this is where everything is, and this is where everyone else is. So who's doing the demo today? Deborah, are you here? Brooke?
Yep, it's
Where's
Deb
Brooke?
and I.
All right, cool. So listen, please make sure that you start doing these small actions. Small actions done consistently provide oversized results, right? Just start getting in the process. We have 8 more weeks to go. I hope you guys found value in the time that we shared together today. I really want to make sure that this is really unique and different for you. And again, thank you all for your empathy last week. It really, truly means a lot to me. So I'll leave it to you guys. And now I can be a student and watch. So you could remove my